Welcome back on this Monday evening. We return now to the Prime Minister's announcement on trade funding for businesses affected by White House tariffs. Ron Marcolin is the Divisional Vice President of the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters for New Brunswick and PEI. But we've reached him in Christina Lake, British Columbia tonight on the other side of the country. So thank you for that, Ron. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Todd. Thank you again for having me.
$80 million of a $1 billion program earmarked for Atlantic Canada's small and medium businesses. That going to make a difference?
It is. It is to some. Now, obviously, in context of the dollar that you just mentioned, it is small, but it is a start, and it is very relevant. We think it's very timely, obviously. We've been dealing with the stress for now a number of months, 8+ months, and you and I and others have had long conversations about this over that duration. We think it's administered as well, Todd, by the right people, obviously by the federal government, but by ACOA is really who I'm referring to. They have the structure in place, they have the people in place, and they certainly know the region very well with the help of their provincial counterparts.
So you think having ACOA dole this money out, that's something that your members and maybe other small and medium businesses can work with? They should make it a fairly smooth process?
Yes. And I think to underline that comment of yours, you got to make it smooth, you got to make it timely, you got to eliminate the red tape and the regulation. Some of our manufacturers in the community in Atlantic are struggling. They continue to struggle, although they are very resilient. The fact of the matter is when you do deal with government programs, they have to be easy to administer from the government side, but more importantly and selfishly from us manufacturers, you have to make it easy for us to apply and then more importantly, get the funds in at the right time in a very timely basis. We are fortunate because we all know ACOA, we know the good work they do, and we know the process. We've been dealing with them for years. So again, to repeat, it is timely and it is the right way to go to market, as it were, if you call it that.
So we know that the seafood industry will qualify for this, lumber, no doubt. You represent manufacturing in the region. Will they qualify, and what sort of help do they need, Ron?
So yes, they will qualify, and yes, they do need help. And of course, this is more focused on small to medium manufacturers. I think it's very fair to say the large manufacturers have it figured out. They're in multiple countries, they're in multiple markets with various products that they ship. So they have a system in place well in advance of Trump and tariffs, sort of 2.0, as it were, in the second term. The small and medium ones, they have weathered the storm, but I think it's also very fair to say that they do need help. They do need some financial help. Some, however, though, in fairness, are CUSMA compliant. So they have been dealing with the tariff situation because they're exempt. What we're focused on is the non-exempt ones, the ones that are being taxed or tariffed, and quite frankly need the help from the government, but in a very fashion where, again, as I say, is timely and relevant, and it has to be sort of easy to get to, as long as you qualify, of course.
Some of these industries are very specific in what they do. Are they in a position to diversify? Is that even possible?
Well, it is interesting, and that's a very good question, because diversification is great as a concept. But once you get into sort of the nuts and bolts of it, you have to realize that it takes quite a while to get into new markets. It does take quite a while because, in fairness, it's relationship building. It's not that you're just going to, show a person in a different country or a company a different widget or way to go to market. You ultimately have to have a relationship with them. They have to know how you produce your product. I mean, things like timeliness, things like terms of agreement, you have to follow up in a very regular basis. It's not one and done. So if you're, for example, using our strategic advantage as Atlantic Canadians to go to Europe, you have to, in essence, touch your customers on a regular basis and follow up and really do account management 101. So whereby they, obviously feel that you are ultimately a good supplier, a timely supplier, and have a good quality product to supply.
I know a little bit about Christina Lake, and where you're sitting, I'm wondering if you can see the United States out that window of yours, and can companies easily, we hear a lot about pivoting away from the United States for those new markets, and you mentioned larger industries in the region have the capability to do that. If some have done it already, can the smaller ones do that?
Yes, so you refer to the U.S. out the window.
Yeah.
Yes, we are literally on the border. So we literally look out the window and see the mountains, which happen to be in the state of Washington. There are localized businesses in this part of the country that will have the equivalent of COA funding. And yes, it's sort of what they do with it and how quickly they get into it. A lot of people, to be fair, haven't really used a series of government funds over the years, so they have to be educated. I think it's a very fair thing to say that the COA equivalents in Western Canada and elsewhere will do that very quickly and make it not a cumbersome process, which is very positive, of course. Yes, you look around this part of the country, and there are a lot of small businesses. Now, of course, it does equate to Atlantic Canada in the sense of, yes, British Columbia has softwood lumber, obviously. Yes, they have mining, and obviously, as you know all too well, parts of Atlantic Canada are into mining as well. But manufacturing, and mostly part of a bigger supply chain. Are they able to pivot? Yes, they have looked. They have looked outside the box. They certainly have the ability to pivot, and I think it's very fair to say they have. So I think it's fair to say they will continue to pivot and look to other markets. It's unfortunate that they've had a president from another country sort of force this upon them. Some may argue they should have been doing this years ago, but the fact that they are now doing it is a very positive thing.
Ron, we'll have to leave it there. There's lots to talk about. We will continue this conversation when you get back to this coast. Thanks for your time tonight.
Okay. Thank you for your interest, Todd. Have a great day.
You too. We'll take a break. We're back in 2 minutes.